Hello everyone and welcome to WAN Tech Corner. In this video, we're going to configure IPTV or UDP Multicast on OpenWRT routers. I believe most of you should be familiar with IPTV. It is Internet Protocol Televisions, and right here we can have a very detailed explanation and the network diagram of a simple setup. So next we're going to have the Internet Route Management Protocol. It is a part of the IP Multicast, and we're going to have a quick check on this network architecture right here so that we can understand how this works. Alright, so to make them easier, I have did a simple network diagram right here. So let's say that this is from the Internet Service Provider side, and for example, I'm using Viettel, which is one of the internet service provider in Vietnam, and Viettel run their PPPoE server on VLAN 35, and they have another IPTV server, or we call it RTP or UDP servers, and they are streaming in VLAN 25.02. And then after a lot of process, they try to combine everything together, and like they are sending it via the copper cable or fiber network, and then it is connected to my home router, which is somewhere right here. So after that, if you are using a normal ISP provided router, then they will help you to configure everything accordingly. You will have a working internet connection and working IPTVs or set-top box. But just in case you want to set up your internet connection and your IPTV service on OpenWRT router, you need to run your PPPoE connections on the correct VLAN, which is VLAN 35, and then you need to set up your IPTV connections on the correct VLAN, which is VLAN 2502. This setup is similar to Unify from TM. This is the simple setup with VLAN, but for some internet service provider, they didn't run PPPoE or IPTV on VLAN, but in fact they mix everything together. So the configuration is very easy for us. So this is a second case which we will talk later. Okay, so this is a high-level network diagram that we are going to use in this video. Let's take a look at this architecture for the Internet Route Management Protocol. So normally your routers, which means the OpenWRT router, will not forward your IPTV or the multicast query from your LAN device or your set-top box to the server on the Internet Service Provider side. But we need to configure that. So we need to set up IPTV or UDP routing as well so that it can work. And that's why we need to use this package, IGMPProxy. So basically, IGMPProxy will listen to the multicast query from your LAN device, and then it is going to route this request to the upstream server, maybe from your video server from the Internet Service Provider side, so something like that. Alright, so we have just talked about IPTV, and then a simple IGMP architectures, and then this IGMPProxy. So you will also heard about IGMP Snooping. So basically what is that? IGMP Snooping. Okay. So this is it, IGMP Snooping. So let's go back to this network architecture. So let's say if you have configured everything accordingly, so you have configured your IPTV, the multicast routings, and the IPv4 routing with PPPoE, then all of the traffic from these servers will flow to your WAN and then flow to your LAN ports. So all of your network ports will be flooded with this UDP stream. Alright, so when you are configuring IGMPProxy, you will tell your routers or your device that only receive the stream when a device in your LAN client requests for that. Okay, so that's why we need to set up IGMPProxy to we need to set up IGMP Snooping to avoid like storming in our network and avoid any like congestions or any lagging. And for this videos, I'm using the MikroTik router. So it is a 750GR3 running OpenWRT. So this is the simple setup that I have right here. This is my ISP modem or ONT in bridge mode. And in this setup, all of the traffic, this is a trunk port and this allows all types of traffic flow to my one port. So in this one, I'm going to have VLAN 35s and VLAN 2502s and all the VLANs if it has from the ISP. And the ports from 2 to 4 will be the LAN port. And the last port I will be configured to connect my set-top box. Alright, so this is the router and currently we have no internet connection at all. So let me just log in. We have no password for now. So the first thing I'm going to set up a quick hostname. GR3, I think it's 3 and I will set a quick password so that we can get started. Alright, so system administrations, I will set a quick password. So now we should be ready to go. The first thing I'm going to do is to configure internet connection. So it is PPPoE on VLAN 35. Alright, so let's go to the device and then add device configuration. So we are going to select VLAN 802.1Q and the base device will be the one port. Okay, so VLAN ID 35 and device name we can just go with 35. IPv6, alright, that's good. Okay, I think that's all. Save it. And let's go back to these interfaces. And then let's set up the PPPoE connection. Click edit and then change the protocol to PPPoE switch protocol and then select the device to 1.35 and now we need to input my username and password right here. Alright, so I have just filled in my username and password and yep, that is it. So let's click the save and then when we are setting up a PPPoE connection, it will automatically create a virtual IPv6. So we can safely delete this one. And yep. So shortly after this, we should have a working internet connection. So let's wait for it. Right, still waiting. And yes, we have the IPv4 and IPv6. So we should have a working internet connection right now. So let's just run the speed test and verify. Alright, perfect. After setting up the internet connection, we need to install the IGMPProxy package. So let's go to System and then Software. And first thing we need to update the list. Alright, and then let's install IGMPProxy. Hit install and install. The package has been successfully installed. So now let's go back to the network interfaces and set up our IPTV interface. Let's go to the device tab. And then, as we discussed previously, we are going to use port LAN number 5 for the set-top box. So I will remove this port from the LAN bridge first. So I will remove port LAN number 5, hit save. And then I'm going to add a device configuration. So this time it will be a VLAN and the base device is 1 and the VLAN ID is 2502. And we don't need IPv6 for now. let's go to the Advanced tab and make sure multicast support is enabled. Hit save. And finally, we are going to add a bridge. Okay, so the type will be bridge device. The device name will be br-IPTV or whatever name you want. The bridge port, it will be the 1.2502, which is my VLAN for IPTV, and the port LAN number 5. So basically we all done, and right here we have the option bring up empty bridge. So yeah, you can enable it if you want, but I think we don't need it for now. Just leave it like that. And then let's go to the advanced device options and make sure the multicast support is enabled. So right here we have this option enable multicast queries, but I have checked that even though this is not enabled, it is still working fine. We should be good to go with the default configuration, but just in case you have any problem with your IPTV playbacks, any lagging, then you can check out this IGMP versions and MLD. Okay, so for now we will go with the default setup and let's hit save. So after that, save and apply. Alright, so that's good. We have this 135 and this 1.2502, but we can see that the device is still down because we have yet to create the interface. So let's do that. Add new interface. The name will be IPTV. So this is the interface name, and we are going to assign a static IP address for that. The device is bridge and hit create interface. I'm going to give it just a examples IP address, so 10.1.1.1, and the subnet mask, it should be fine. And on the firewall setting, I'm going to assign to the one firewall zone to make the configuration simple. So basically that's all we need, and now we can hit save and apply. Alright, so as you can see, shortly after I created my interface, we already received the UDP stream from the internet service providers, and we can see the RX is now ongoing. So let it stable the Ethernet 8 connection to the router 192.168.1.1. I'm using PuTTY for this connection. So let me run opkg install bmon so that we can see the traffic. Alright, so bmon, and then we can see the UDP streams is flowing through the Ethernet 0, and then we have the same traffics on br-IPTVs or the one port, and then VLAN ID 2502. So we can see it right here and right here. Alright, so we have set up our IPTV interface and installed the IGMPProxy package. And now let's modify the IPTV configuration. So v/etc config IGMPProxy. Okay, so press the I key to switch to the insert mode, and then go to option network 1. So right here you will need to specify your interface name for IPTV, and in this case it is just IPTV. Alright, option zone 1, yes, it's correct, and option directions upstream and list altnet. So this will be the IP address of the stream. So Just to make sure, I'm going to enter it at 0.0.0.0/0, which means all IP address. And for this one, we are good to go. So we can press the ESC key and then colon, right and quick. Alright, so for now we can run service IGMP proxy restart and run this command to check the status, and yes, it is running. If you take a look at these tutorials right here, you will see that we will need to do something with firewall or something like that, but actually the package already have to do that, and you can run this command to verify. Alright, so we already have this zone 1 forwards and we already have this firewall rule added automatically. Okay, so let me do a quick test for now. So this is a IPTV's like playlist, and right now this is the multicast file. This is for my internet service provider only, so for your cases it may be different. So let's click edit with notepad, and we can see that this is the stream, so it is RTP, and then it will be something like that. Okay, so let's try to play it. Alright, so unfortunately nothing show up, so something should be wrong. Let's click the playlist and let's check it. Let me reboot the router. Alright, so let's log back in and verify. And after the reboot of the router, we can see that the IPTV service is now up and running. So let's try to play around between different like channels. Let's go to view playlist, and I can like switch between different channels, and it is all working great. So we can see that after we have successfully configured IGMPProxy, we will need to reboot the router in order to stream or play the UDP stream. That's not the end. We still have a lot of things to do, and the very first thing we will need to do is enable IGMP Snooping on our LAN interface, because we don't want all of our LAN device get flooded with the UDP Multicast. So let's click the edit button right here, and then advanced settings, and then let's find if we have this IGMP Snooping. Nope, so it should be on the LAN bridge configure, advanced options, and then enable IGMP Snooping right here, and hit save, and then save and apply. So after that, let's verify if we can still play. Alright, so let's see, let's wait for it. Alright, perfect. We can still place IPTV with no problem. Okay, so we have followed the tutorials and set up a working IPTV. So we configure IGMPProxy for IPv4 multicast stream, and then we have enabled IGMP Snooping. And for the firewall, the package already have us do that, and we don't need to do it. And as I had mentioned previously, if you have any problem with the playback, you can try to change the IGMP versions right here. And now the next thing we want to do is to configure multicast streams over Wi-Fi with Unicast conversions, or UDPC. And basically this is very simple and easy to do. All you need to do is run the OPK3 update and then install this LuCI app UDPC. So you can do it with LuCI or command line. So let's do this with LuCI to make it simple. Alright, so system, software, and then we need to update the list first before we can do that. So while we're updating the package, let's go back to the guide. So I have shown you an example of the IPTV playlist. It will start with RTP, and with the multicast to unicast conversions, we are going to change this one from RTP to HTTP, and then the address will be our router's IP address. Okay, so let's do it together. Dismiss and then install this package. Hit install. Alright, so that's it. So now we can log out from LuCI and log back in. And right below the service we have the UDPC. So make sure we tick enable and the status enable. For the UDPC configurations, it is a little bit different. So we are going to use the bridge name instead of the interface's name. So the link IPs or interface, this is where this applications or this package is listening to. So you can configure it at br-lan. If you want this packet to run locally, then you should stay br-lan. It should be fine. However, if you want to stream this HTTP unicast to all the places, maybe you can watch the IPTV service while you are on the go somewhere, then you can change this one to 0.0.0/0 to enable all. And then for the port, I'm going to change it to A.A.A.A, and the source IP interface will be br-IPTV. So basically we are done. And as I had mentioned, for the UDPC we will need to enter the bridge name, not the interface's name. Alright, so hit save and apply. Oh, I'm sorry, it should be AAAA, not A.A.A.A. So save and apply. So now we should be able to reach the status page at this URL. Okay, so let's remove the HTTPS and go to HTTP. So UDPC status, server process ID, accepting client on, and multicast address and active client no. So let's go back to the guide. So after you have installed this package, then you can use this URL to access your stream. So HTTPS, RTP, and then this IP address. So let's take a look at our example. So this is our URL. So it is something like that. So let's copy that, open a new file. And then we're going to replace this one with http:/192.168.1.1, and then the port AAAA, and then RTP, and then this one. Alright, so this is the URL after the conversions. So let's double check. 192.168.1.1 and then RTP. We are good to go, and let's try with VLC. Media and open network stream. And here let's click play. And there should be nothing playing because we have yet to configure the firewall. If we refresh this page, we have no active connections. Okay. And same here. So let's go back to the guide So according to the document, we need to add another 2 firewall rules, but this rule should make the IPTV unicast work. So let's try to do that. Okay, so the source is 1 UDP, destinations IP address, and it is accept. Okay, so let's do that. Network, and then firewall, and then go to the NAT rules. Traffic rules, and then click the add button. So the name will be allow, let's see, UDP IPTV, the protocol, the UDP, and the source zone is 1 source address. And then for the destination zone, it is device input destination address. So let's input this one, and the actions accept. All right, so we should be good to go, and let's click the save button, and then save and apply. All right, so we're good. So let's try to play the stream again. And we can see that the unicast conversion is set fully, and we can verify this by checking the URL. So HTTP, and we should be seeing the same on this UDP status. So we have the source, destination, and the throughput. And if you have more clients, it will be showing up here. So we can see that everything is working right as expected. And if you want to stream your IPTV on the internet, maybe sharing with your families and sharing with you when you are on the go, you can open this port AAAA, and then maybe you will need to add some more firewall rule, for example this one, in order to make this IPTV unicast working. Alright, so you may ask me, how do I do the bulk conversions of this playlist from RTP to unicast? Well, you can do this with Notepad++. Press the Control and F key, and then on the replace, we are going to find this RTP, and then replace it with HTTP 192.168.1.1 and the port number, and then this one. And if you're using a different LAN IP or WAN IP, make sure you update it here. So after that, press replace all. So we already changed the multicast to unicast, and let's verify this. Alright, it is working. I need to stop because of the copyright. And make sure you save the file with a different name. So far we have set up IPTVs on the Matrix 750GR3 running OpenWRT with dedicated VLAN for IPTV and PPPoE. So the port LAN number 5 will configure as a port for set-top box, and you can just connect your set-top box to this port to watch your TV. So in my case, the internet service provider runs IPTVs and internet connection, the PPPoE connections, in 2 different VLAN. However, there are a lot of internet service provider run everything in just one single VLAN, and in this case it will be something like this. So the configuration will be very easy, and basically all of the traffics will be routed to your ONTs or your modems, and then it will be routed to your routers. And in this case, all you need to do is to follow the documentation. So we don't need to create the VLAN for the IPTV, but we just go with this one port, and everything should work if you just input the configuration like this. Alright, so that's all. And I hope it will be useful if you are searching for a way to configure your IPTV service. Please be aware that not all internet service providers using the same setup, and it may not work in your case. So it is a good way to check with your internet service provider on what types of IPTV service they are running, whether it requires any VLAN or not, or whether there are any specific requirement, for example the TTLs of the package or something like that. so that you can configure your IPTV multicast safely. So for further information, you can refer to this documentation from OpenWRT, as well as this Wikipedia for IPTV and IGMP. If you need any assistance or anything to discuss, feel free to leave it in the comment section. Or if your question is way too long and it have a lot of screenshots and information inside, feel free to leave it in the Facebook group so that we can check further. Thanks for watching and see you all in the next video.